Hashtag LFG. Let's field goal. Why and how are we together so excited over this topic of the mental and psychological side of baseball? Let's be in a video game. When you see the psychological component of baseball as a video game, so many things become modeled. Number one, time extension. We are playing a child's game, sometimes for money, sometimes frustratingly. When I say time extension, I mean we can hack a video game of baseball by seeing that our interactions with coaches are a time extension. Who controls your playing time? Some old dude. Who controls what position you go to, even though your preferred position is blah, blah, blah? Your coach does. Who controls your future school grade sequence participation at the junior, senior level in high school, at the college level in junior college and higher? Who does? Some older person. This is how we get extra playing time, both currently and travel ball and future ball. By mind melding and seducing the coach. Maybe seduction's not quite a good word in the whole Diddy scheme of current events, which is horrifying. Charming your teacher, brown-nosing your baseball coach, not by kissing ass magnanimously, but by listening to what coach says and how that turns into an adjustment. That's who gets playing time, is people who intangibly progress forward. Time extensions, viewing coaches as able to extend your time on the baseball field, both playing time this season and playing time future seasons, accessing a team that you are potentially on the bench for, but then you find a role and augment that team. Time extensions, seeing baseball as a video game. Skins. You know those people who have rich parents that buy you a video game character and then magically they get to play with more skills? That's what Skins provides when you talk to that overweight dude with a potbelly, believing it or not. That dude used to play shortstop, pitch, catch, and be an all-around stud. Now they're fat, okay? It's baseball. It's baseball. Skins is where you are skinned into a video game character that is you, but your protocols, your experience, your downloads of knowledge are not quite where they need to be. Or if you have put on this Skins frame of mind to turn baseball into a video game, now people will say, oh, he's mature beyond his years. He handles pressure very well. He's able to be more mature, and they'll over extrapolate where you're going to go because of the skins that you've developed. Think of it as when your teacher says, put on your thinking cap. This is what a thinking cap is, which is why today I'm wearing a cowboy hat. Video game point number 3. Expansion on a prior. Every prior game that you've played, including games that you haven't played, can be studied, which is why watching video on opposition, incredibly useful. Watching the other team take infield, useful. Watching their left fielder throw the ball into home, incredibly useful. Expansions on a prior are important because baseball conditions repeat over and over and over. 1-0 counts. Are you going to be overly aggressive because you should probably just take if your reputation is overly aggressive, because you can risk taking it to gamble on a 2-0 count versus who cares if it's a 1-1 count. The expansion's on a prior because, as Hunter Penn says, every baseball bat has an infinite number of outcomes. Baseball game as a psychological operation, point number next, which is blackjack. Baseball, when you're hitting, is blackjack. The difference between a 1-2 count and a 2-1 count is like having a 20 on a blackjack table. A 20 is a really, really good score on blackjack. 2-1 is great if you're hitting. 2-1 if you're pitching, not great. 1-2 is great if you're pitching. The difference between 1-2 and 2-1 is 90% of defense and 90% of your offense. Can you value going to a 2-1 count, not necessarily avoiding a 1-2 count because they happen, but how hungry are you to get that video game positioning thinking that it's blackjack? The idea and concept is going from a 1-2 count or a 2-1 count. Can you flip those? Because it's nearly polar opposite, almost as big of an opposite as 0-2 and 2-0. Almost as big of a swing. Body language. When you do get to 1-2, does your body language change? When you get to a negative outcome on defense, what does your body language do? View body language as a video game input where once you have bad body language and begin to be afraid of the ball, nothing good happens. And that's the video game of the baseball gods throwing more opportunity at you because of what you end up kind of attracting. And that's body language, where if you're completely in flow and hungry for the ball, totally over your injury, you'll probably get hit maybe one ball at shortstop, right? Or nothing, just catching a throw down from catcher for a tag out for a runner going first to second. That's it. Your body language is what you can affect the matrix of the baseball field. Chirping, positive baseball trash talk. Lost art, if you're going to be loud, you need to be correct and you need to be positive. And you need to have stuff ready to say, because if you're chirping a lot and something negative happens and you don't talk at all, that silence is deafening, where you've got to find something positive to trash talk when the guy's standing on first base and you're now playing first base. I mean, what can you say? The dude squibbed out a single, right? Chirping affects the entire team in a positive way when you master the psychological side of baseball. Video game psychology of baseball, we are the player. When we pretend that the video camera is on us, we are more accountable because there's a permanence to our body language, a permanence to our outcome, and we are always on our A level of prep. We may not be on our A level of game, but we're definitely on our A level of prep with our jump, shuffle, or our glove prep, or our infield throwing prep, even playing catch. In fact, we are oftentimes in a video game getting judged when the game's not even going on, because coaches watch to see how we take infield, obviously, but also how we play catch. In fact, I can play catch with somebody and I can gauge exactly where they are. Video game component to knowledge activate the psychological side of baseball, which is 40% of the game is mental, 70% of the game is physical. NPC. Going from NPC to hero, that's default. Everybody thinks that they're the hero, but nobody really realizes that everybody's an NPC because of the likelihood of us making it to the majors. That's the potential end goal, but then we don't win the mini video games before the maximum video game where we're starring in a video game. So the NPC realization is this: seeing that non-player character is kind of all of us, and then having a journal to say, I used to do this NPC thing, now I'm doing this hero thing. I used to do this, Kobe Bryant would make fun of people who are soft. Now I'm doing these psycho things on a Saturday, Psycho Saturdays, for EQ, emotional quotient. I used to think that Larry Chang videos were confusing. Now I realize he did a PhD thesis in sports psychology in under 10 minutes, while also doling out a bibliography with one funny story. Under 10 minutes. Fully defensible PhD thesis in sports psychology, because all this stuff is innovative in you. Flow state. How many times have you just had a game and you're like, oh my God, nothing can go wrong? Being able to anchor your nervous system to call that optimum state up on command. Can you Tony Robbins your way into an anchor, a mental anchor? Playing the game, practicing the juxtaposition of, during practice, I'm going to pretend like it's the World Series. During a game, I'm just here for the practice and for the reps. That juxtaposition with the prior point of flow state helps us focus and manage our brain chemicals via breathing. In through the nose, out through the nose, but through the back of our throat. In through the nose, out through the back of our throat. So it sounds like a peaceful, restful ocean. Are you able to meditate during weightlifting to visualize why I'm training this muscle to visualize this future contraction explosion, and listening to my body's kinetic chain, because my video game character is going from NPC to the kinetic chain of ground force energy into kinetic energy of baseball, right? PV plus KE equals KE plus PE, kinetic energy, potential energy. That's what we're doing when we're storing this energy. And did I help you become nearly as smart as Zach Siegel, Jesse Hewitt, Maverick Hanley, Cody Huff? Did I? A little bit, right? You're welcome. I hope you enjoy the video game of baseball as I watch you play on a pro video baseball game that I buy by myself from EA Sports.